So Bo asks, has anyone used Neville Goddard for eye floaters? I betcha. And what's really cool, it doesn't matter, you might be the first one. I may have been the first one to use Neville's teachings for PTSD. I may have been the first one to use Neville's teachings to get a hip replacement without getting surgery. I don't know. But I found that there's some ways you can really make this problematic. And that's to focus on the problem in any way. Think about it. When you focus on a problem, mind seeks solutions. And I can promise you this, your mind is designed to have problems with solutions. Have you noticed this? I mean, I tell people things all the time. And they all, like, oh, I couldn't do that. Well, my doctor would say, well, what would, but there's always a but. Yeah, but I'm not sure that would work. Human beings are just weird. Have you noticed that? We're weird when we focus on problems and we gather together around problems. Right? Some people have a problem with Trump. Some people have a problem with people who have a problem with Trump. I don't have a problem with any of that. Buy the pearl of great price. Now, here's what's really, really cool. Neville taught you begin with a producer moment, a theme. Wouldn't it be cool? You see, I was walking with a walking stick. I needed painkillers. It got so bad that I stopped going to the loo to pee because there was a tree outside and it was 11 less steps of stabbing pain. And now I'm doing kung fu on staircases. I avoided staircases for years. They're not a problem anymore. I've met psychologists and psychiatrists over the years who tell me you have no indicator of having had PTSD. And I've met chiropractors that tell me that they must have misdiagnosed you with scoliosis too. In other words, why do these things disappear? They disappear because I stopped debating with them. In other words, here's a problem, I need a solution, and I'm going to have a problem with the solution. Some people have problems with me because it doesn't seem as though I'm a solution to their problems. And that's not fair. Because you're 100% human and 100% divine. The human part of you, it focuses on surviving problems because it wants to survive. The divine part of you focuses from possibility. Wouldn't it be cool to be the Kung Fu King? And when I moved into the state of Kung Fu King, I lost 60 pounds of ugly fat. The hip that needed replaced rebuilt itself. My whole life changed. Scoliosis, they told me I'd be a cripple in a wheelchair in my 20s. Surprise, surprise. The only time I've sat in a wheelchair is whenever I worked in a nursing home. Right? Because I wanted to know, what's that experience like? Because I want to get them out of that. And PTSD? Not a problem, man. PTSD is the imagination out of control. And when you have PTSD, and I think a lot of people do, you're in orbit and you're reliving a problem. Maybe physically, maybe mentally. But I can tell you this what, the way out is imaginally. So we begin with a possibility. For me, it's always an identity change. Neville Goddard taught you don't get what you want. You get who you're being. You get your identity. And this is why we do what we do. But I'm going to give you a word of warning. It's a whole new language. It's going to seem cryptic as hell to some people because when you've been problem-oriented all your life, the language of possibility, it's like listening to Portuguese. It's different at first, and at some point it starts making sense. And here's the big deal, guys. Identity. Kung Fu King. I got out of scoliosis by being the Karate Kid. Long before the movie came out, I became the Karate Kid and avoided surgeries, braces, a wheelchair. When PTSD came along, I returned to the woods. I got the Mr. Nature Award as a 10-year-old. But I went back to the woods, learned Native American philosophy and survival strategies, and that changed my life. In other words, I changed who I am then too. And so I invite you to change who you are Because who you really are is God having the adventure of a lifetime. You're not the janitor. You're not the maintenance man. You're not middle management. You didn't come here to manage problems, right? You came here to see from possibilities instead of seeking solutions. That's it. Have a lovely day. My name is Mr. 2020, and I encourage you, identity-based manifesting. See ya.